So here's the deal. I want to redo one of the first recipes I ever did on my blog for lemon polenta cake. I've got a few ways that I think I can make it better by leveling out some of the ingredients. It's going to be light, it's going to be fluffy, it's going to be delicious. I know you're going to love this recipe. This lemon polenta cake is a classically Italian dessert, and honestly, it's almost like a sweet cornbread, but with the lemon that goes inside and the lemon glaze that goes on top. Oh my goodness, what is that? My dog's driving me nuts. Come here, buddy. Okay, fine, we're gonna have to do this part with Oliver James Parisi. But what I was trying to tell you is that for all my friends out there who always ask for a gluten-free recipe, well, now you got your wish. But if you taste it, you can't just say, oh, this is good for gluten-free. No, this is good for any cake out there. It is so dang tasty. So now we need to prep up a little bit. Tell him, Oliver. Get ready. Sound good? Let's bake. We're going to start this recipe off with little arts and crafts time, my friends, because what I need to do is cut a circle round from parchment paper. So I've got a 9-inch springform pan. I'm taking the bottom out, putting it on a sheet of parchment paper. If you only have the one that comes out of the roll, totally fine as well. Draw a little circle around. Again, it's like we're back in second grade all over again. Grab a sharp pair of shears, and then what you want to do obviously is just cut around it. Now, if you are a very serious baker on websites, especially baking websites, you'll see that they already sell these pre-cut out 9-inch parchment rounds. Again, for the serious baker only, but I would encourage you to pick those up if you're in love with baking. So now go ahead and transfer it back over to that springform pan. Just press it in there, and now let's get cranking on this recipe. So in a medium to large size bowl, I've got some cornmeal, and you can use coarse grind or fine grind like I did. Next, I've got some almond flour. I like the super fine ground almond flour. I think it just blends in better than the other. Now I'm going to hit it with a little bit of sea salt, followed up with some baking powder. This is obviously going to help sort of stabilize the cake and make sure it rises really, really nice. Then grab a whisk and mix it until it is completely combined. Take the time to do this, no joke, because we're going to add it in batches into our stand mixer, and we don't want things not mixed. Go ahead and set it to the side, and then just to keep on prepping to make sure this recipe moves smooth, I'm just going to zest up a few lemons. I always say it's important to have a good fine zester like this. It's a microplane. It's fairly inexpensive, will last you a lifetime. So go ahead and grate those in there, and then just simply take that bowl and set it to the side. Now in a stand mixer, I've got some softened unsalted butter that I'm going to add in there, followed up with some sugar. This is going to obviously help sweeten up our cake. And then add on your paddle attachments. Important to use the paddle, not the whisk. We are going to lock into place. And then what I like to do is mix it on slow first, or else the sugar is going to shoot out the bowl all over your kitchen and you're going to be cursing my name. And then I like to kick it into medium to high speed at that point. You want to let it mix for about 5 to 7 minutes. It will become light and fluffy. You can't miss the texture. You can see it clearly here. And if you don't have a stand mixer, you can absolutely just use a hand beater. So at this point, I'm going to add in some vanilla extract. You could use the vanilla bean seeds of one vanilla bean pod. Next, hit it with all of that lemon zest. It literally will take maybe 20 seconds for this to completely mix in. No big deal. Now we're going to start adding in some other ingredients. I've got 5 total eggs, but what I'm going to do is add them 2 at a time. So add in 2, let it mix for maybe 30 to 45 seconds until incorporated. Then take a few cups of our dry ingredients. Like I said earlier, we are going to add it in batches. This is important to help make sure everything is completely mixed in without over mixing it. And then it's important to remember to stop that stand mixer and completely scrape it. You can do that after you add the first 2 eggs and the dry mixture, or after the next 2 eggs and more of the dry mix ingredients. Totally up to you, but be sure to do it to incorporate all of those ingredients. It's very, very important. Okay, so I still have a few eggs left that I do need to add to the stand mixer. Hit it with 2. I've got 1 left. We're going to save it till the end. And then again, grab your dry mix ingredients and do it a few cups at a time to mix it in there. Again, if you're using a hand mixer or even a whisk at this point after the butter and the sugar have been creamed, just be sure to do it vigorously to make sure all of the ingredients are combined.
Then last but not least, I got that last final egg, and then of course a cup or so left of the dry ingredients that I'm going to add in there. We're looking to mix it again on medium to high speed for about another minute or two. Now, what we want to do once everything is combined, lift up the mixer and take off the paddle. Usually I would use a rubber spatula. I do give it a little knock on the side. My chefs would be yelling at me if I did this. Use a spatula to scrape it off. It's just safer to do in the more chefy type procedure that you would follow, not the clanking around. Okay, so transfer this batter over to our springform pan and pour all of the ingredients in there. Now it's going to be decently thick, not obviously like a thin cake batter. It is thicker. You've got cornmeal and almond meal in there. And then just using that rubber spatula, completely smooth out the top. If you've got to drop the springform pan a few times on the counter to make it settle, it's totally fine. I don't think you need to do that, but you can if you want. Just give it a quick smooth on top. Looks fantastic. We are taking this pan, we're going right over to the oven. It's going to take about 40 to 50 minutes on 350 degrees for it to completely bake. It will be nice and brown on top, and the center should be almost completely firm, maybe a slight jiggle. We'll take it out after that time, and then the waiting game, my friends. I hate this about desserts, but it does need to completely cool to room temperature. It will continue to bake and stay really, really moist. With about 10 minutes or so, when it's done cooling, let's make a glaze for the top. So I've got some powdered sugar, just going to run it through a strainer. If you have a sifter, totally fine as well. This is just going to help make it easy to mix in so there's no clumps. Now, because I need every little last bit of juice in there, I've got a lemon juicer that I'm going to squeeze super hard, get all of the juice of 2 lemons out of there. I just use the ones that I grated, so it's a great way to use up anything that's left over. And then using a whisk, completely combine all of the ingredients until it is mixed in. You'll notice that it's nice and smooth. And I always recommend taking a little taste. Does it need a little more sugar? Does it need a little more lemon juice? Be sure to add those things. Now, let's go back over to our cooled cake. Using a long slicing knife or even a shorter, thin blade, what you want to do, and be very careful, is sort of run your knife around the outside to make sure it removes from the springform pan. And when it does, undo that buckle and it should slide right up just like this. Okay, absolutely perfect. Yep, that's my wife in the background, as you can see there. And now what I want to do is transfer this and put it right over a sheet of parchment paper, because what I'm going to do is pour that lemon glaze all over top, and I don't want it to be on my countertop. I promise you'll thank me later. Now this part, there is no science to really. I'm just going to pour the lemon glaze on top. I've got an offset spatula. If you don't have one, you just have a rubber spatula, totally fine. Don't let it stress you out. Then I'm just going to move it back and forth. You do not have to worry about making this perfect. We're just trying to provide a thin little sugary lemon-infused glaze over the top. When it's going to run over the sides, it's going to look like little fingers are coming down. It's totally fine. Again, we're just looking to add a little bit more flavor. Let it sit for a few minutes for it to cool and connect. And it's all about these fundamental techniques, my friends. I tell you all the time. Now let's plate up in slow-mo. I'm going to decide to serve this up on a round cutting board. I don't know why. I just thought it would look cool. The cake looks awesome. It's got that nice brown outside edge. And of course, we're going to take a little slice out because I want to show you how beautiful it is in the middle. Look at that. Fantastic. You could also serve this up with a little more powdered sugar, whipped cream. I love to hit it with just berries. And man, oh man, check out this beauty.
No joke, it's just so good and it's so easy to make. Few ingredients, you probably got quite a few of them already in your cupboard. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, like and share this video, and definitely check out this video right here. Made it just for you. We'll see you on there.